Topic today are food sensitivities contributing to your condition. I've been in practice a long time. I've had evolution of understanding of the mystery diseases. For those of you who watch me a long time, you know I have several of these: Hashimoto's, celiac, autoimmune gastritis, and more. So I've had a significant interest in it over a long period of time. One of the things that I never could kind of grasp completely was food sensitivities, because food sensitivity testing was so crazy. It's all over the place, and in most of the time right now it still is. So for years, what we did was we looked at all these food sensitivities, and there was hair analysis, and there was the ALCAT tests, and they're all different types of tests which use different parameters to figure out your food sensitivities. And if you took all three of them at once, you would get wildly lack of consistency among these. And we know this because we tried it. Actually, I remember doing food sensitivity tests back in the early '80s, and it was crazy. And then we did kinesiology. Now, there's something to that, but it's for me, it's not. Maybe it's me. I don't quite have the sensitivity that a good kinesiologist has to have you hold something in your hand and then test it, and then the arm goes down. For me, I'm wondering, like, okay, was that me that did that, or was that them, or whatever? But that may be a legitimate way of going about it. But food sensitivities are huge, okay? And in the past, I've said on my videos, food sensitivities are huge. So, but don't do testing because it's all over the place. Now we would do an allergy elimination protocol. Now, many of you are familiar with the Autoimmune Paleo diet. Okay, and I remember when that came about, and it was one of my mentor's colleagues that put that together, and we all used it, and for years we used it, and you would take out basically all the foods that are going to cause any type of an inflammatory response or an immune response, and a lot of you are probably familiar with it. A lot of you probably tried it. I'm getting more and more people coming in today that I tried the Autoimmune Paleo diet and it didn't work. Part of the reason I think it doesn't work is, as well, now you've heard me say it's the gold standard, and in my mind it still was at that point in time, and it's still up there if you have the patience to do it. But the reintroduction process can be so laborious, and you have to each food, you have to take like 3 days, and you have to take notes. You can eat the food like on the first day, but you have to try to be attentive for like 3 days to figure out if you're having a reaction to it. People got tired of that, and then they lost track, and then like every 3 days, it's like you're introducing like 2 foods a week, right? So, and here's the thing on that. Even for the person who is doing it like very meticulously, what we've come to understand now is if that person has intestinal permeability, they have a broken down digestive chain, that hasn't been fixed while they're reintroducing these foods, that they start developing new food sensitivities to the foods that they're eating, the good foods that they're eating, and start having reactions. And usually you can create new food sensitivities like every 6 months. So that definitely was kind of mucking up our results and our overall results in certain cases. Anyway, so food sensitivities are huge. Food sensitivities are huge. You eat a food that you're sensitive to. The problem is, again, food sensitivity is oral tolerances. I can throw that in there. But both of them are like this. You eat the food, and maybe you don't get a reaction. You eat the food, let's say Monday morning, maybe you don't get a reaction until Wednesday afternoon. And you're thinking, like, what did I eat for lunch? When it was like, what did I eat for breakfast? It should be, what did I eat for breakfast on Monday morning? Most people would never put that together. I never put that together. I mean, when I started doing this, it was a little tweak, for my brain. So, food sensitivities, what do they cause? Literally, it is stunning what they cause. First of all, you usually get food sensitivities because you're getting a broken digestive chain. Your stomach's not working right, maybe your gallbladder's not working right, maybe your pancreas isn't working right, like all of them aren't working right. And then by the time that food gets to the intestines, where you have an immune system that ultimately is testing all the foods to decide, what's going on here, what's going on there. You can get food sensitivities, obviously, to chemicals and that foods that have chemicals on them, and foods that are genetically modified. But really, still, it's kind of that all of those foods end up breaking down the system. Now, the system can break down because you've been eating like crap for your whole life. Maybe you've been drinking too much. But maybe too much sugar. But it also can break down because you got a hypothyroid. It could also break down because you have Hashimoto's. It can also break down because you have stress. Stress is the biggest one. Honestly, stress is the biggest one. Stress, you go into fight flight. When you're stressed, it tells your stomach to stop putting out proper digestive juices. It tells your pancreas, hey, we don't want you doing anything. We're in fight flight. We want to be like fighting or fleeing. We don't want to be like digesting carbohydrates here, And it tells the gallbladder, slow down. Stress, number one cause of gallbladders coming out by far is stress. Causes them to slow down. Tells it, hey, don't be pumping. We don't need you pumping. We're running from the bear. Stop pumping. We need all the energy we can to run from the bear. And then that results in you getting food sensitivities. It's more than that. I have other videos on that, but that's how you get food sensitivities. I mean, think about that. Okay, so who's not walking around with stomach problems today, or digestive problems, or things of that nature? But the result is insane. Okay, you get these food sensitivities, you don't know it. Okay, you're walking around with brain fog, and your blood sugar is going up and down, and you're irritable and you're shaky, and you want to choke your significant other. Maybe you're putting on weight. Maybe your bowels are off, and you're like, who would think it's what you're eating? When you really look at it, why wouldn't you look at that first? It's like what you're eating. It's like, what is the mitigating factor in my physiology? It's like I'm eating different stuff every day, all day long. But it's more. It is more when if let's say you're eating well, it's more that your digestive chain is broken down. Having said that, every time you eat a food sensitivity, it creates an effect on your immune system. It'll flare up your immune system. It creates inflammatory responses. That ultimately screws up your adrenal glands, because every time you create an inflammatory response, there's this hormone called cortisol that goes up. And sometimes if you're weak, adrenaline goes up with it. And if you don't get the adrenaline, you're getting the cortisol goes up. Now, I don't mean to be getting into too much science here, but when cortisol goes up, blood sugar goes up. When the reaction to the food drops, your cortisol drops, blood sugar drops. I've literally had people come in here who were diagnosed as bipolar. Now, if you're bipolar, okay, I'm not saying that this is the answer for all of you. I'm just telling you, I've had people who've come in here who are bipolar, got their microbiome under control, or their food sensitivities under control, which allowed us to get their blood sugar under control, because every time that hormone cortisol goes up, blood sugar goes up. Every time it goes down, blood sugar goes down. Up, down, up, down. Sound like bipolar? A lot of people get misdiagnosed for bipolar who have that. It's pretty wild. But that's kind of an extreme example. The reality is now I'm talking about your blood sugar going up and down. What's that going to cause? That's going to cause a lot of problems. And then blood sugar affects every single symptom, every single cell system in your body. And I mean, I can go through a ton of vicious cycles that occur from these food sensitivities. So it's no small thing. Now you'll hear me say, some people will write me, a lot of people write me. A lot of people ask us questions, and so there's so much sometimes to these mystery cases. I've got fatigue, I've got digestive bowel problems, I got fibromyalgia, peripheral neuropathy, I'm getting skin lesions and all this type of stuff. And what I'll tell people is look, I can't advise you like what's going on without like talking to you, listening to you, getting some labs and stuff like that. But what I can tell you is diet's usually a good place to start. Food sensitivities are usually a good place to start. I have a mentor who would tell you that blood sugar is a good place to start, but I will tell you a lot of times the blood sugar is screwed up because the person's got food sensitivities. You want to fix your leaky gut, you have food sensitivities, forget it. If you went and did so-and-so's leaky gut program online, I won't say who, so-and-so's leaky gut online, and you buy like, I don't know, $350 worth of supplements, and then you follow the diet for a week, and you feel good, and then you don't. Food sensitivities is one of the biggest reasons why. So food sensitivities are big. Now, I go back to me saying that all the testing stinks. We have managed to come across 2 tests that we find good. The one thing I can tell you about testing without promoting one testing group over the other, because I don't want to get in trouble here, but what I can tell you is this: a lot of the tests that are gold standard, and I'm not hair, sorry, not happening. Blood, better. Urine, not so good. Urine's more metals and stuff like that, metabolites and all that, hormones. But blood is where it's at. But the testing that has been most popular has been testing that tests white blood cells and whether they expand. And the problem with that is like there's like a million things that will make your white blood cells expand. So depending on what day you do that test, it can be wildly inaccurate. And yet these tests that are these ALCAT type of tests, I mean, they've kind of been the gold standard for as long as I can remember. You want antibody testing. That has been proven to be the most effective. And there are different companies out there that do it. I think we feel like we have 2 companies that we know we can rely on because we've been using their stuff now for years and heavily for the last couple of years, year and a half, 2 years. And we've been getting consistently excellent results clinically using the data that we're getting off of those. And even those aren't 100%. Even those are like 97%. And I'll have somebody go, I ate this food and you know the test said that I could eat it and I blew up. And the answer is, well, don't eat it because the test is only 97% accurate. That's apparently the 3%. Just letting you know, there's no perfect test out there because people will get this. And if you come up with a test and you got like 90 food sensitivities, and if you think I'm exaggerating on that, I see it all the time. That doesn't mean that you have 90 food sensitivities. That's something where you might need some help to interpret it so that you know which foods to take out, which foods to like maybe rotate. And the other thing about food sensitivities is this: most of them are going to go away once you fix what caused them. Okay, most of them are going away. Not all of them, but if you go from like 60 food sensitivities or 40 down to like 5, people are usually pretty happy about that. And so food sensitivities aren't necessarily a death sentence as far as like, oh, I can't eat. Food allergies, different animal. You have an allergy like gluten or milk, or you have something like that. That's like a forget it. That's never coming back. But those are things people know. You see, when they come in here, they go, I already know what my food sensitivities are. I have a gluten sensitivity. I have casein. It's corn. I just had one yesterday. It was eggs. Like I eat eggs. Oh my God, my life just falls apart. Those are probably staying, but those aren't sensitivities. Those are not what are called IgG or IgA responses. Those are IgM responses. You're kind of screwed on those. Those are not coming back. You have an allergy to those. And, you know, it's good to know because those of you who've gone through that, like the lady was sitting here yesterday, and she was actually comical about it. You know, it was funny. Like, and I eat an egg, and oh my God, my hair starts falling out, and I'm in the bathroom for 3 days. It's like, well, it's good you know that, but I love eggs. You know, so that's my world. So yeah, food sensitivities are huge, and they're a big part they're a big part, I would even say a foundational part. They're a good place to start. For those of you who like have to do this on your own, want to do this on your own, you know, think you can do this on your own, whatever. Good place to start is start with leaky gut. You know, years ago I was part of one of the groups that was like, it was the leaky, we were like the leaky gut guys. It was like, it's leaky gut. And then we found out it wasn't all leaky gut, but leaky gut is a part. You can't develop a food sensitivity if you don't have leaky gut. So that's part. That's part of it. But you have to look into food. It's kind of a foundational place to start. Figure out your diet and figure out food sensitivities. It's a really good place to start, no matter what you got. I don't care what you have. I don't care what it is. Any chronic condition you have, you start looking at your food sensitivity and you start trying to get your diet right. It's a good place to start.